Right, well, eNCA's Michael Appel has been following developments on this story, and let's just have a chat with him about what could possibly happen now. Michael, good morning, and you've been following all the juicy details from the start, getting even juicier yesterday, I suppose. So what happens now?
Well, the state capture inquiry will have to approach the Constitutional Court seeking that contempt of court order. And as the Deputy Chief Justice placed on record yesterday, they will be seeking a term of imprisonment, however long that's going to be. They can seek that term of imprisonment, but it's ultimately up to the apex court to decide what is a reasonable sanction for this contravention, defying the Constitutional Court. It's important to note here that they're going to the Constitutional Court to file contempt of court application in terms of defying a constitutional court order. It's different to the summons that was issued in terms of the Commissions Act. So there is potentially a much more serious sanction than Jacob Zuma walking out in November 2020, where he was not a no-show, he was there and then he left at his own volition and did not return. So that would be a violation of the Commissions Act, where him not appearing in January and February, that is a violation of the apex court's order, so it could carry a more weightier sanction. Yuveka, I've just going through that 12-page statement, cherry-picked 1, 2, 3, 4 statements that stand out to me that are completely bizarre. Let me start with this one. Jacob Zuma says that he did what he did yesterday. He drew a line in the sand, quote, not to undermine the Constitution, but to vindicate it. Let me repeat that. He did what he did yesterday. He defied the Constitutional Court order, not to undermine the Constitution, but to vindicate it. He says that there is a belief that a few in the judiciary have long left their constitutional station to join political battles. A very serious allegation backed up by absolutely no fact whatsoever. He says that the Deputy Chief Justice, quote, decided to propagate political propaganda against me. He says that Advocate Pretorius, the evidence leader yesterday, quote, turned narratives against me into evidence. I'll be at pains to challenge that on the face, that every single time that Advocate Pretorius placed something on the record, he said, this is an allegation that were the former head of state here, we would ask him to answer to. So that is in no way saying that it is turned into fact. It is an allegation that we would require you, if you would do us the courtesy to attend to the state capture inquiry, that we would need you to answer to. And lastly, Zuma says that the commission approaching the Constitutional Court, seeking this contempt of court order, is to seek a sentence, and of course, he will get it. So he says it's a foregone conclusion that all those in the judiciary, the Deputy Chief Justice, colluding with those in the Constitutional Court, it's a foregone conclusion. He believes that he's already going to get a custodial sentence from the apex court, something he's resigned himself to. And as he had said on the 1st of February in that, once again, another lengthy statement about the state of affairs regarding him and the state capture inquiry, he says he's very willing to go to prison for this.
Well, it doesn't seem like he's very willing to go to prison for this, Michael, despite him saying that. It seems he's putting up the fight of his life. And just to go back to him saying, yes, he's willing to accept the sentence, it has been predetermined already. But already we can see he's laid the groundwork for what might happen if he does receive that sentence. He's already rubbished the judiciary. He's already, and we've seen him do this in the past, haven't we, where in sort of expectation of something, he's already gone and said, but I already have my reservations about sort of this entity or that entity. So you have to wonder, what is he really up to at this point?
Well, it's about playing to the crowds right now. He knows yesterday, as the Deputy Chief Justice put it, if he believed that anything in terms of the summons that was issued for him to appear in January and February, if he felt that it was illegally issued, he and his legal counsel, by the way, were obliged to approach the courts to set that summons aside. These are very serious and seasoned advocates. They are legal officers that know that they would have had to have gone to court. to challenge that summons. They did not do that because, as many of the analysts we've heard since this took place yesterday have said, that there were very few legal grounds for him to be able to challenge the summons. So what he's doing now, on the face of it, is playing to the public, playing to the gallery. It's part of the victim narrative that Jacob Zuma has propagated since the first time he appeared, where he said that the culmination of 3 intelligence agencies, the apartheid state and 2 others he wouldn't name, that state capture inquiry is part of this entire narrative to undermine the name Jacob Zuma.
I think majority of South Africans, Michael, we can safely say have run out of sympathy with that victim act as well. But very quickly for us, if you can just give us an idea, do we have any idea when we will know what that decision will be? What that sentence will be? What will happen with this now?
Look, they would have to approach the Constitutional Court. That matter would have to be heard, I imagine, on an urgent basis. You would have to apply for it to be heard for direct access to the Constitutional Court. If you listen to Glynis Breitenbach from the DA yesterday, she said this shouldn't be handled by the Apex Court. It should go to a Maj Court or a High Court at the most. So she believes it should be handled in the lower courts. But it seems the Constitutional Court wants to forego all the possible appeals processes and go straight to the highest court. So you've got to appeal to the Constitutional Court. You have to state your argument. One assumes Jacob Zuma and his legal team will oppose that matter. They didn't the last one, but they will oppose this to say why a custodial sentence would not be an appropriate sanction.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Michael Appel, we wait to hear what happens with this entire process, of course.